All right, guys. So Powerapps. So this is really this is one of the most powerful services here that the Microsoft 365 platform has, because it enables us to build very, very cool front ends, right? Whether it's mobile enabled front ends or whether it's tablets or web enabled front ends for device agnostic services. And it's so easy to do. It's very easy. We can actually have tons of excuse me, data connectors and services that we can leverage. And definitely this continues to grow. The ecosystem continues to grow as people build more and more. Because that's the other thing, the other beauty about this platform is that it's not just something built by Microsoft. It's actually something that's built, it's an ecosystem built by many things, right? Cloud technology is that way. So all the vendors create their own solutions, and even people create their own solutions and they publish them. What we want to do is we want to build an app through SharePoint. So we already noticed how we build the app with SharePoint. We connect it to the dashboard. So now we want to look at creating a mobile app, and we want to be able to use SharePoint as a connector. We want to take a look at the gallery, right? The gallery control is where you see the list of items, right? So you will see all the items that are listed, and we want to take a look at the view in 80 screens with the mobile device, with the mobile version of the product. And we're going to talk about a little bit about review navigation and things like that, so you can become familiar with the environment. We're going to touch a little bit about input validation, notification, filtering, and use a real case based on that SharePoint list to build an app. We're also going to look at how to publish this and export this app to other tenants. If we have enough time, we can do that. But ideally, what we really want to do is after we publish, we really want to be able to install the Powerapps mobile app on your phone. So while I'm presenting, or whenever you get a chance, make sure to download it. So go to the App Store and install the Powerapps mobile app. Right. So what's going to happen is, as we publish this, if you run this app, it will become available. You see it as an icon, and you can click on it, and it will run on your device. And ideally, that is really one of the success criteria for this presentation, for you to be able to walk away from this with an app that's running in your pocket, right, in your mobile device. So how do we do that? We go back to our SharePoint list. Right? And in our product log, we talked about the ability of automating and clicking here, and we saw that. So now Powerapps, there is something called, and what this will do will actually integrate with the Powerapps portal, because it is also available, right? You can have all those portals are available here. You can actually look for Powerapps here and open that in a new tab. And from here, you can actually build app, right? So that would be like the way we used to do it before the integrations were released by Microsoft. So, but every one of these services has a portal where you can actually build these things. So here you'll be able to do the connectors, connect to SharePoint, do all those things. So this will be the long way. This will be the long way to do it, and it will take you through a wizard to do it. The short way will be that from here, you can actually say, create an app, and this will take care of knowing what the connector is, the site URL, in the data list that we need. And it will actually create a boilerplate app based on the metadata that is reading from SharePoint. So what are we going to call this app? Let's just call it same product log. Let's continue with that theme and click create. So this is actually doing exactly that. It's configuring the app, is reading SharePoint, is downloading the metadata for the list, understanding what the structure looks like, and then building an application that's actually going to give you, I would say, 85–90% of the functionality that you will need, which is list the items, edit the items, update the items, delete an item. It will give you all the CRUD operations that you will need to do. And all of this is just really because of this whole rapid development approach. As you can see, this is it. We already built the app. So the app is really, of course, it's not really, you can improve the way it looks and create colors, add the theme of your company. We can do all those things. But let's review really quick what this app does, right? Let's see what the template, what it created for us. So if you take a look here, we're just gonna run it really quick, right? We can click, by the way, we can click on the play button here, and that will run the app. And then you will see a list of items, and you can click on that item, and that gives you the item detail, right? But it's read only. If you want to edit, you click on the pencil, and that gives you the item information with the attachment. And remember, this is not the same as the SharePoint form. This is a mobile app that is independent of that SharePoint form, right? Completely independent. So we can actually say, no, okay, let's go back. Let me go back to my list, and this is the list. All right, so how does that work? The first thing is, if you take a look at the connectors here in data, it has the connection to our SharePoint site already, right? It knows what that is. So it connected to that site, it connected to the list that we needed, and it created 3 screens. The first screen is the browse screen, which is this, right? And what it did, it implemented a browse gallery control. And the browse gallery control it's just a list view, right? It creates a list of items and you can customize that. So if you notice here on the right, you will see that it has a layout, right? It has a data source. It has the fields. So you can see body, subtitle, title. You can see that it's actually already looking at the body field to the area, and the subtitle task, the title is the name of it's the title field. So you can see that. But if we didn't like this layout, we could change it, right? If we don't like this title, we can change it. So we can do many things, right? So product log. So maybe product log is something that is maybe it's not an ideal name for it. But so we can change it, and I'll show you. So let's start first by taking a look at this main screens, right? And look that we know that this is where we do the browse, and this is where we do the different layouts, right? So you have some customization capabilities there. On the edit screen, on the detail screen, we just really have a detail form. So this is really like a form control that just binds to that data source, and it's able to actually edit the selected record. And the selected record will be provided by the browse gallery control, right? And then the edit screen is another one that uses an edit form that enables you to actually post changes to the data source, right? So this is where we will be updating the record, okay? So that's great, and it gives us a lot of stuff, but let's look at what's inside all this stuff that we see here. So if we start looking at this refresh icon, now we can start seeing some of the API calls and expressions that it uses, right? So we have a refresh product log. So this, what it will do is actually refresh the data source and download the recent data that is available. If you look at the sorting capabilities, it's just really doing something called update context, and it's actually changing the sort order here with this variable, right? So it's just like a toggle switch, right? That you can actually sort by, if you notice, it's actually sorting. So the question is, what is it sorting by, right? That's the question. And then the add button will enable you to do a new form and navigate to the edit screen of that form, all right? So what you want to look into when you're looking at this environment here is you want to look at 2 areas. You want to look at, whenever you select something, look at the top left, and those are the properties and events for that control. And you have a smaller or simplified version to the right as well, with some of the, like for example, theming and some of the advanced stuff, with some of the unselect events and things of that nature. But when you start getting into more complex expression, this is kind of difficult to use, right? So You have both of them are available here or are available here, meaning right and top left. Okay. So all right, so we have the data list and it's looking good. Let's change. What if I wanted to change the product log name? All right. When you look at the app, this is the app itself, right? That's the app. The app also has some properties, right? It has some properties and it has the edit app name and all that. But we have so many screens, right? And we want to be able to be consistent and create a variable that enables us to just kind of maintain the name in one place and not have to duplicate it, because right now it's duplicated everywhere and we got to change it everywhere. So what makes it easier is you can actually start getting and set a application level variable, right? And we're gonna call that app name, for example, and we're gonna call this a product log, right? And what we just did is we created a variable there, but it's at the app level, right? And we need that because we want all the screens to access that. Always control save, right? Continue to save this all the time. And one thing to note here is when we're adding code at its own start level, we want to be able to refresh this page, because the nature of this platform is that it's loaded on a browser, so it won't know that we added this until we reload this page. So we need to reload it, and then it will just bootstrap the app, execute the events, the on start event, and load the context of those variables, right? And we'll have to do that every time we touch those areas. We have to do that. So I'm going to try to add all the code that we need ahead of time, so we don't have to repeat that process again. All right. So as you look at the runbook, you will see there's a lot of code there that we can add already, so we don't have to be waiting for this delay, right? For this loading delay, especially if my internet is slowing down a little bit. So the idea is that now we have that variable set up and it's ready to go for us. So we can go ahead and I'm gonna take advantage of the time and just grab some of the other code here. Okay, I'm gonna refresh this. It's taking too long. So you will see some of this code here. All right, so this is loading. Bear with me. It's taking a little slow. What I'm doing now is just kind of copying the scripts that we're gonna need to be able to do some of the stuff, so we don't have to repeat this loading stuff. All right. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna have to load this Powerapps from here and see if this helps. All right, that seems to be working better now. Okay, so we're gonna go to our apps and we're gonna load that app that we just created. We're gonna edit. All right, so that's working better now. So we're gonna try to avoid having to do all this scripting on the on start event and reloading, because it takes a little bit of time. Okay. So what we want to do now is what I was trying to do is just change the captioning of the app and show you how through code you can do that, right? So we added a variable there. It's connecting. Right, and I'm gonna add this code here now to avoid having to do this again, right? As we save it. So what I'm doing there is just creating a data structure for a collection that we're gonna use JSON model that we're going to use for building some of the customizing some of the items with the icons, and also coloring some of the stuff for some of the items in the lesson. All right, I'm just adding it there now, so I don't have to reload and have to be waiting on that stuff. So the one thing we want to do really quick is if we go to product log and you see the text, now this can be changed to just use the app name, the variable we created. Right, and now this app name, of course, let's see if we load it or not. Product log, set app name, product log, yeah. Right, so this should give us the, says the Powerapps encountered an error because it did not load it. Yeah, so it is empty right now. So we have to reload it. So ideally, once this is loaded, which I'm not going to do right now because I don't want it to reload it until I add the images, this will reflect, right? And the same thing will happen on all these other ones. Right, so it will add that name, right? And the same thing on the edit screen. So this is the way you can actually just change the title in a way that is global to all the the screens, right? But what we want to be able to do also is we want to be able to quickly change this layout. So this layout is kind of not too much there. We want to be able to change it, right? So, and to do that, what we want to be able to do is look at the browse gallery and look at the layout here and use an icon. So we want to do image, title, subtitle, and body, and do that. So this added an image now to our list. So it starts to look a little bit better. So what we can do now is customize this image and customize some of the stuff here. And to do that, we need to go and add images to this. So the way to do that is we go to the image, to the media gallery and upload some of these images. So I already downloaded the images from the GitHub site. So you will see an icons folder there. And you can download these images and upload them there, right? So if you notice, this is uploading the images with their name. So now they become available to us. Continue to save. When you go to the apps on start event, if you go back to the tree view app on start event, then you will see that we're creating a collection with those images, right? So this is actually the images that we uploaded, and now we can actually use these values to be able to customize our application. Right. Another thing to notice here is that we have the we have some color values here based on the same. We have a color value directive here that I'm going to remove from here. That's not the one to do. What I wanted to say is in the area colors, we have a color prop here. We can leverage when we set the colors for this particular area. So if you notice on the SharePoint side, we kind of color coded the areas. So we can actually go here, do the same thing here. So we can actually look at this field and look at the color, font color property, right? And actually change that to match what we need. Okay, come on. I think it's not liking my, okay, here you go. So it's just set to dark right now. So we want to change that to this expression. And basically this expression here is saying, hey, use this color scheme and do a lookup on area colors and set that color, right? Set that color. If it's blank, just default it to dark, to black. If it's not, then give me the color property. If you notice, it's not loading right now because that structure is still missing. That's why we have an empty title, and that's why the colors are not there. So we're gonna save this again. We have better luck loading the structure now, right? and we're going to reload it. Okay. All right, so we're going to reload this. All right, that was faster. Okay, that's much better. All right, so we're going to open our apps, product log. Okay. All right, we're going to load that. So that's the one limitation, right? So you got to understand that the problem with the onStart event for an app is that it has to be reloaded, otherwise it just can't. So if you notice, our title is back and our colors are working because this code actually got loaded in memory now, right? So we have the clear collect and we have the colors and we have the fonts and everything is good. So now we customize that. So now we can do the same for this tile. So for this for that image, we can it's actually defaulting it to a sample image, which is that little grayed out image, but we can change that to an expression and automatically you see how, because it was already loaded in memory, the images are associated based on this code, right? And basically what we're saying is do a lookup on that collection. If the value of the area is the same, then return the image. Of course, here as well, you can do a lookup, and if it's blank, and give a default image name if in the event that we don't have an image for that particular area as they add new ones, right? To be able to understand what's in memory here, what you can do is you can actually go to file, and you can actually take a look at media and see the media that you loaded, and you can actually take a look at variables and see the global and the items that are added, right? So you can see the browse screen has a scope level ascending, which is for the sorting, and global has an app name, global variable scope. And you also have collections, right? And the collections you can see. So we have the area colors for the collection, and that's what we have. Okay. All right. So see, so we have this now, and what we really wanted to do is we created a Power BI dashboard to enable us to sort of integrate every single step that we're doing. So usually we want to create a new screen. To create a new screen, most of the time, you can go ahead and do new screen and pick one of this based on the layout. What's a good practice here is that usually when we're building applications in general, we create a theme, right? And that theme has everything that we need for all the screens to work the same way. So in this case, you will create a screen that has all the layouts, all the titles, and everything else. To simplify this, we're going to use the detail screen because it's very simple and we can customize that. So we're going to duplicate this screen. We're going to copy and or just duplicate it. And it's going to create another screen here, detail screen. And we're going to rename it because this will be our report screen. So we're going to call this summary screen. And we're going to move that down because we want to make sure that this in the order will be last, right? And now we need to customize that, right? So if we notice here, we don't really need this detail control at all because we want to add one for the dashboard. So we're going to delete that. And we have label names and things of that nature. Label name because we already had assigned the app name, then everything is good. So we already leverage that. What we want to do is we don't need that edit and pencil and edit and delete icons. We can remove them, but we got to be careful when we do things like that. We got to make sure that there is no dependency, that there's no expression that can break this. So for example, if I do that and I delete that, right, you can see that little dot, red dot, that means something broke. There's an expression that's bad. And if you take a look at this app checker, you will see that there's errors in the formula, something is happening, right? So what you can see here is that there was some dependency on that control. So we're gonna do undo and restore it. So let's take a look at the dependency. Why is there dependency here? If we take a look at this, right, and we take a look at its width property, we can see that there's an expression that's actually leveraging the delete and edit icon for spacing purposes, right? So the layout is nice, right? Yeah, we don't need them, so let's get rid of that. And just do that, right? So now we can come here and just go ahead and do delete this and delete that, and then our control is fine, right? So it's fine. It's just taking the width of the parent, which is the container, and it's extending it from its X position to the remaining, because we want to maintain this icon here for navigational purposes. So this icon is going to take us back to the browse screen. So the navigation will be from the browse screen into this screen, right? All right. So now we want to be able to add the dashboard here. So how do we do that? So what we want to do is we're going to go into insert, and we want to go into charts and click on Power BI tile. All right, so the Power BI tile, we can get fancy or we can make it simple as far as the reordering of this. So for example, if we want the position to be 0, 0, right? For X and Y coordinates, right? That gives us all the way to the top. But then definitely that's not going to work because it's hiding the taskbar, and that doesn't work. So what we can do is for position, and we can look at the Y coordinate, instead of 0, we can actually leverage the height of the caption bar, right? So if you look at it, there is a red quick action bar 2.2_1, which is the one in our screen. We can use that, and we can use its height. And now that aligns perfectly, right? So now the same thing we can do for its width. So for width, we can actually go and say, I want 300. I actually wanted to use the app that width. And this is really how you start making out your layouts on a basically programmatically, right? With expressions, right? Or you can just go ahead and drag it. Like you see the height, I could just do that, but then that's fixed, right? That will be fixed. But I could just do and just create the expression for height and leverage the parent, right? So bear with me a little bit here. This got a little bit. So just make sure that when you're doing this kind of work, because it's browser based, you got to understand that we open so many tabs, so many windows, that eventually starts the browser starts to crawl. So you want to just create one, close them, and start another browser for something for the different areas you want to work on. But to finish this thought on the height, right? So we can get fancy and say, okay, I really want the app height, right? So it's the app height, but of course we got to take into account the fact that that this will overflow it, and we want to reduce also the self Y position, because it's the position that the height of the taskbar, and it aligns perfectly, right? As opposed to be fixing it with numbers. But now we are good to go here, and we can actually go ahead and then select our toolbar finally. So when you click here, it will actually ask you to log into your workspace, right? And this is gonna go ahead and turn around and query my workspace and get the metadata and find out what kind of dashboards I have. And we want the product log dashboard. Again, it's gonna query that, and it's gonna find out the tiles we have. And we have the product log, and we forgot to name our tiles, and it took the default name, but we could have named them mobile, and we could have named them differently. So, but to show you and illustrate what's happening here, if I pick the first one, is the one that we designed first and that we pinned first. So it's gonna follow that order, right? So it's gonna go ahead and grab that data. And as you can see, it actually brought in that one. If I pick the second one, that will be the other dashboard. So as you can see, it's sort of small, right? So that's why we actually play with that layout. So what we can do is we could actually go ahead and play with this layout, make it a lot smaller, and actually reduce it so this actually looks nicer on the screen. Right. So what you will do for that is you will go back to your dashboards here online, and play with it. Or you can do it from the window, from the desktop, and make the adjustments, right? I made the adjustments for this dashboard, made this smaller, right? So you can edit this from here, and this does very simple edits, not a lot of sophisticated edits. So the best way to do it is to do it from the desktop. But you can actually change these things here, and you can actually change the tiles names from here, right? And you can edit the details here and actually call it mobile, right? So you can still do some modifications on the online level, but if you really want to customize a report really well, you have to go back to the source, which is the desktop, and make all these adjustments. So when we do the Power Apps, basically like this, then it looks much better, right? It doesn't look like it's so small. So that's why we got to play with the layout a little bit. And we are running a little bit behind. I'll let you guys work on it, and I continue to do the customization, and you can actually sort of see how this works. But basically, if you run this application now, you will see that all we're missing is a way to get to that dashboard. So a quick way to do that is we can create another icon here. And let's say we want to go, let's see, we want to go into the pin dashboards, let's say. And we want to customize this icon in such a way that it does the same theme that we have for the other one. So we want white, and we want to look at the styles here. The styles here are size 88 and padding of 22. So we can actually go click on that and make it all uniform and say, okay, we want 88, and do padding of 22 in general. So this will make the icon align with the rest of it. So 88, there you go. So now, all right, so the only thing that's missing here now is that we want to be able to, on the on select, we want to be able to say that we want to navigate. We want to navigate to the summary screen. And what I wanted to show you guys is I didn't want to do it through the through an icon here. What I wanted to do is I wanted to do a flyout menu, but we won't have time to do that. But the instructions to create a flyout menu are on the runbook. But if you run this again, now you can see that if you click on the pin dashboard, it will actually go and load the Power BI dashboard here, right? And then you can go back to the product log and do that, right? So that's what I wanted to show you. So for the flyout menu, we're going to add a component, and that component was going to do the sliding menu. So we can actually have a sliding menu and have this icon here. So, but that's you can look at the runbook, and that will give you, that's the exercise you can continue to do. But now I want you to go ahead and take a few more minutes, play with it, take a look at it, and in the next 10 minutes or so, we'll be moving on to a new session. So for now, I'm gonna go ahead and pause and just take a few Q&A and get back to you guys. Go ahead and take advantage of this and start, get familiar with the environment, play with it. Doesn't have to be exactly what I did, but at least get familiar to how this works, okay? All right, I'll be back. All right, so we're about 5 minutes away from the next area, but just want to give you guys a little bit more here that I did not do. But if you want, on the edit form, when you click on the edit form for these applications, there is a the edit form itself has some um, actions, events. So as you can see, when it is successful, we can actually send a message, or when it fails, we can send a message. So when we take a look at the on success event, we can actually add a more feedback to the user and basically say, add a notification, right? And so what we can do for the notification, we can actually display a message that indicates to the user, hey, everything was okay. So we can do notify, and send a message. Notify. And then do the type of notification will be success for this, right? And my browser is struggling a little bit. So hopefully we can get there pretty soon. And then the notification type for that will be okay. Wait until it's catching up. It's a little bit late. I'm going to close some of this browser so they releases a little bit of memory. Okay. Remember, a lot of stuff is running in memory, right? It's actually running, and it just really needs that memory to. When we have been doing a lot of stuff for so many apps, so right now Chrome is kind of, the browser is kind of struggling. So here what we're doing is we're saying, okay, if it's successful, then what we want to be able to do is we want to send a notification that all went okay, and then we want to be able to display a message to the user, and then go back. If there is a problem with it, then we can actually do something different, and yeah, this one just. Yeah, so this one's struggling a little bit, so I probably just need to close the PowerApp tile. Yeah, notification type, and this will be success, right? And then we save this. Let's save it. Make sure. All right, so the one step that we did not look into that we need while you're still working on that is that we need to publish this, right? Once the application is available here, let me see if it took. Yeah, it took. Okay, so this worked okay. Format text, that looks okay. That looks better. Now it's saving. Okay, so this is what it will do. It will actually give you a toast notification to show you that that this is working, right? So you can actually go ahead and say we want to change some of this. We can run this, and then we can say save, and it says all okay, right? And just basically give you a little toast notification to do that. So let's do this from here. So we do that. We can do edit, and then we can do the toast notification here. And it went back. All okay. And it went back. And of course, on the mobile phone itself, it looks a lot better. So once you do that, you save everything is well, you go to file, and then you publish. What is going to happen here is actually you can edit the details, and you can actually add some cool icon that you want. I think I have one that's kind of nice somewhere here. Let's see in the images, I believe. Yeah, let's use that one. So this is the bootcamp, right? And we can just basically save this. Those are the changes. We can go back, and now we can say publish this, save and publish. And when you publish it, what's going to happen is it's going to publish that to it's going to make it available to whoever has access to it, right? So one thing you got to be careful of is that you have to, when you want to share this, when you publish this is there, but you need to share with people that have the right permissions to access this. So here you'll be able to add users and assign the users permissions to be able to do that. If you're the owner of the app and you're building it, you won't have a problem, right? Because it's just you. But if you have other people, right, then you probably want to do maybe some support group or anybody, add that person and add permissions to it, and then everybody within that group will essentially have access to that. Okay, so that's kind of how you want to do this, and you want to add permissions that way. Okay, so it's just taking a little while to load that. So, but then that's really how you will add permissions to different users. Okay, so if you notice that you publish it but it's not there, then definitely it's missing. Something is not there, right? So you can add the sales group. This will actually tap into the Azure Active Directory and query those users, grab them, and then you can give them permissions. All right, so I'm going to cancel out of this, and this is how we publish this. All right, so I'm going to cancel. I'm going to release some memory here, just close this a little bit. But so if you publish it, then you have the app. If you install the app on your mobile phone and you log into your tenant, the way to log into your tenant is when it asks you to log in, just give your tenant account name, your login name, and it will take you straight to that environment and you'll be able to use it. All right. All right, so let's take a look at where we are now. All right, so it's 12:15. So, all right. So let's talk about virtual agents, right? So remember, guys. So it's this could be a little bit fast for you. There's a lot of information to share with you, but the idea here really is to sort of get familiar with what's out there and the possibilities, what you can do, how you can do it, right? So we're gonna continue to follow the theme of the building a product log application.